very beginning, but at least we'll get through some of the introductions. You guys can see my screen and what our agenda is going to be, so it's really going to be kind of quick. Bruce, who's on the call with us here, is going to be providing us some great content on Google My Business. Matt and myself do a little roundtable every Tuesdays, and Jenny has been on that. A couple others of you on the call have been on it, and so this is kind of spawned off of that, where Tuesdays we have this small group where it's less than 10 people. We try and keep it to that, so it's good networking, good content, but we're trying the last Tuesday of every month to bring you content so we can open it up to everybody. So if somebody has not been on one of our roundtables, you might want to jump on. We only have, I think, 3 seats left for our next Tuesday, but you learn a lot and you have a lot of takeaways. So Matt, you want to introduce yourself? Oh, I didn't even say who I am.
Yeah,
I guess I'm Heather. Sorry. Sorry. Go on, Matt.
Heather and I are account executives there at Trade Tech, and thanks. Yeah, just as Heather said, we wanted to open up a forum where our contacts and our clients could kind of leverage some ideas and questions off of each other. We find that in this ever-changing atmosphere we find ourselves in right now, it's good to have other input and some tips and tricks on how to do things appropriately and keep us in front of our clients, because at the end of the day, that's what we want to do. It's hard to get out there in face-to-face meetings, so how do you maintain that contact and that presence of mind when your customers and clients need you? This is one way to do that, and in community, a lot of things can be solved, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for input from everybody, and we hope you enjoy and appreciate the content we're going to provide today. As Heather said, once a month we're looking to bring in a subject matter expert and answer some of the questions. So if you guys have any ideas or have any particular requests for style information or subject matter that you'd like us to address, shoot Heather or myself an email, and we'll be happy to look into scheduling. So without further ado, we've got Bruce Jones here with us. And Bruce, in full disclosure, used to work with us at Trade Tech, and has been on his own helping folks launch their brands and delve into the whole mystery of SEO. So that's his forte, and I'll let you take things away, Bruce.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me here. Yep.
Thanks.
So Bruce Jones, I used to work at Trade Tech for about I think it was 7 years, something like that, and then it came about where Google was invented and Trade Tech had one of the websites, and it was created from a SEO company. And then they asked me, Ken and Mike, they ended up asking me, like, is our website search engine optimized? And I said, I don't really know what that means, but let me check it out and I'll get back to you on Monday. And so I did. And I said, no, not really. And they said, is that something that you could do? And I said, I'll try. And it really worked great, because the phone just started ringing from there. And then that kind of snowballed into helping a bunch of other Skyline dealers across the country and Skyline Corporate. And then I had my own digital marketing agency for 10 years. And now I just started a couple of more of consulting and coaching type services related to SEO. And so that's kind of where I bump back into my old friends here. And I see there's a lot of value related to Google My Business. It's one of those things that I think most people don't realize, that how it can help you rank better for the keywords that you probably want to be found for. And it's also, when people do a search for your company name, it's the first thing that people see. So that's kind of value there also. So I'll kind of go through the presentation. If you guys don't mind, if you have any questions as we're going through the presentation, you could just drop something in chat. Matt will take care of managing that, and we'll kind of do some feedback loops, because maybe I answer your question later on anyways. Okay. All righty.
Thanks, Bruce.
Yep.
Give us the meat.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So the first question is, what is SEO? A lot of people ask that. So really, there's a lot of elaborate things, but really what it's doing is trying to trick the search engines. Well, there's not really any more search engines. It's all about Google now. And to be the right answer. But so if you're going to try to trick the search engines to be number one, what's the easiest way to do that? It's really just kind of answer people's questions, be the right answer in the end, right? So, whoops. So this is search engine market share. So 92% is Google. So it's not, you know, if you ever see somebody saying like, we'll make you number one in all the major search engines, you know, don't believe it, because there's really only one major search engine anymore. And when it comes to, do you have to be number one at the, you know, do you have to be at the top of the list to be found in the search engines? This is a graph here that shows, you know, the Google position number one. This is how many visitors or how many clicks somebody would do. So if you were number 10 in Google for anything, then you would get this percentage of the clicks. So yes, the closer to the top and the more exact that your answer is that matches their question, the better, right? That's just kind of some of the basics there of that. A lot of stuff related to Google is, you know, they have a lot of different initiatives, and just kind of the act of drinking the Google Kool-Aid, they'll help reward you with better search results. And I've seen it many times before. In the day of Google Plus, you know, a lot of people didn't care about that, like, oh, it's the Facebook killer, whatever, but I saw the power in the SEO potential in adding posts to Google Plus. Well, now it's Google My Business, right? So really SEO is, there's three different components of search engine optimization. One is the keywords. So you could kind of think of those as what are the questions that people are asking. Next would be the content. So like your website information, you know, the words on your website, even the name of an image before you add it to your website, how you describe your company in business, you know, a summary of your company or something like that. And then the third part is backlinks. So that's the part that nobody ever gets, but it's what Google uses to gauge the authority of your website. And it makes it more or less likely to be at the top of search results. So the more places that you could add your website to, like directories or, you know, post on another website's blog, things like that, you'll get more backlinks, which will give you more authority, and Google will more likely rank you up at the top. Right? So related to Google search results, this is what it looked like in 2015. So there was the ads on the right-hand side. There was the ads that they kind of rolled around to the top. Before 2015, the ads were just on the right. Organic listings were on the left. And so back in the day in 2015, if you were here, this is where you want to be. You know, this is number one in Google, basically. But that's 2015. Today, you do a search like that, and you get Google My Business listings or Google Map listings through there. So that's kind of the spot where you really want to be in, you know, and that's above the organic listing. The only thing that's above the Google My Business listings are the ads, you know, the ones that you have to pay to be up there. So we'll talk about why you want to optimize your Google My Business and like some of the potential. So related to local search factors, you know, so if you have local customers and they're searching things that, you know, you find trying to get local results, like for example, trade show displays. When you do a Google search for trade show displays, it shows the Google Map listings because it expects that whoever you're going to buy a trade show display from is close to you in some way, you know, or at least within 50-mile radius, something like that. And it depends upon what your company is and what your product that is. Some of it might have local results, and some of them you don't have a local audience, but I'll show you why it's important to optimize your Google My Business for that too. So they show up above the organic search results. You know, one of the reasons why is because everybody else is doing it, but that's really not true. It hasn't caught on. So only 18% of other businesses are kind of doing the ongoing management and optimization steps inside of Google My Business to be able to dominate that. So there's still time to kind of get in on the ground floor here related to that. And the other part is it's way more likely that your website is going to come up in the top of the search results. Let's see, gives you opportunities to show off your team, your office, awards that you won, your products or services, all those different things like that. Google
This
My
is a lot
Business.
more than I thought you could normally have in your Google My Business, because I always get it for phone numbers and websites.
Yeah,
so it's great that you can have all this content.
Yeah, and they all work in the back end there like that. And it's kind of a dynamic thing too. So me as a customer, I could go to somebody's Google My Business and say, you know what, the hours that they have that they say they're listed, that's not true. I am going to suggest to Google to change the hours, or the website is wrong, or it's a wrong category. And what happens next is that information goes to Google, and Google then kind of checks it out, looks on your website. They probably have some other resources and agree or disagree with customers' information. So if you don't manage your Google My Business, your competitors are going to be able to do it for you, and that information is going to possibly get accepted. I had a day spa before that I worked with, and when I first got in charge of the account, they had no business hours. So somebody had modified the business hours to equal that they weren't open at any particular time. So then they weren't, it was always showing as closed. So that was, people were kind of filtering that out. They're looking for a day spa that's open right now. And so that hurt. But there's ways to get notices and kind of block that information, all right? So related to SEO companies, maybe some of you already work with search engine optimization companies. And, that's kind of what I managed and ran in the past. Now I'm trying to do it on a little bit more personal basis here. But the basics is that if you have an SEO company that you're working with and your customers are local and you're not doing anything with Google My Business, you're really just digging where the gold used to be in the old days. But the gold today is to be found inside of Google My Business here. All right. So the first step is, do a search for your company name, maybe add the town to that and see what shows. So most likely you're going to have a Google My Business listing that's going to show up. Even if you didn't create it, it often is created on its own. So Google might just look at other directories and just kind of on the fly create a Google My Business listing. It's not claimed yet or anything, but it's live on Google search results. You could also create a Google My Business listing, anybody can, just for another business that's out there. I've seen it before, like people that I'm trying to help, that it's like, well, let me just at least create a Google My Business listing and then they can claim it later. So that's the first step, is do a search and, see what's showing for your business at this point.
One thing I wanted to just chime in real quick, Bruce, is when we were looking at some examples, like that one said it really is a plumbing company. So even Google can get things wrong. Like we were looking up one of our clients who's a food company, and it said they're a business center. And all the reviews talked about its loading dock. So even Google can get it wrong with what your company actually is. Yeah,
there's a lot. There's a lot of little pieces of the puzzle here for sure. But it's not hard though. It's just, there's many steps. So when you have a Google account, there's the ability to claim the listing. And once you claim the listing, then you can go in and change it as the business owner. So if the listing has already been claimed by somebody, maybe you're your past marketing director or something like that, then there's the ability to go in and say, hey, send the message to that person, and then you could request access. If in the end you'll get, if you're really the right person, Google will give you access to it. There might just be some steps in between getting access to it if it's claimed by somebody else. If it's, if there is no Google My Business listing for your company, then you would just log on to Google, you go to Google Maps, start a business, and you kind of just walk through the steps related to that. And I have, I'll share this PowerPoint with everybody too. So there's some good links that'll get you to the resources where I'm talking about things here. When you do have access to your Google My Listing, this is kind of what it looks like. So this is the dashboard on the back end. So there's some things out on the front end through here. There's a link right in this spot where if you click that, it'll give you a hyperlink. If you share that hyperlink with your customers, it'll direct them right to where they could leave a review for your business. So, you know, oftentimes there's probably times that you've asked for reviews, but you know, I know that the easier you make it for people, the more likely it'll get done. So this gives them a link, you know, and it goes right directly into the only thing they can do is type a review and select how many stars they should rate you at. Right? There's also, excuse me, there's also some different performance type numbers. How many people viewed your Google My Business? How many times did they get directions? Click phone call, all those kind of things like that. And then there's all these different pieces of the puzzle, and we'll look at a Google My Business Live here and kind of go through these things. So the first most important thing is to pick the right business category. So here's a link to a blog post that shows over 400 different Google My Business or 4,000 Google My Business categories that you can pick from. So I suggest kind of searching through and compiling a list of those, and then thinking which one are you the most, you know, it's the best fit for. I have an example of a company that they were a metal fabrication company, and they made like air pollution control systems for factories. That was kind of their main forte, but they wanted just local business for steel fabrication and welding and things like that. And they were nowhere in the map for Oswego welder. When I was there at their office and we kind of were setting through some different things, we added, you know, stainless steel fabrication, steel fabricator, welder. And by the time I drove home and checked the map again, they were in the map pack for welder in Oswego, just because that category was added. So you could add up to 10 different categories. The most important thing is pick the best one first, and then all the alternatives below that then, right? Also getting your address right. So there's, you know, you don't want to have it where it's a conflicting address. So that, like I mentioned here, 123 Main ST and 123 Main Street, you know, whatever you say on your Google My Business, it should be what it said on your website. It should be what it said on your Facebook page or Yelp profile, all those kind of things like that. So then that way Google is going to be more likely of kind of putting it together and saying, okay, we understand that all these things fit together related to this particular company, because all those things help you rank better also. And here's a link right to the post office where you could actually put your address in, and it'll come back and say, well, here's the official address we know your location at. And I would guess that all of the different companies that I work with, probably half of them don't have an exactly accurate match to what the post office has listed for them. Okay. The next part is to fill in all the blanks. So, you know, there's a lot of different spots to fill in, and try to fill them in as much as possible. You know, does it really matter if you put the start date of your business in there? Well, if people are doing a Google query for how long somebody was been in business, or, you know, a business that's recently owned or things like that, all, you know, if you don't add that information, you're not even going to be part of the query there. And so if you have an earlier start date, you probably get a little bit more authority because you've been around longer than the other people that maybe don't have their listings showing through there. Things like business hours. If you're a registered person inside of Google My Business, Google sends you an email. I don't know if anybody else received the email over the last couple of days that said, hey, is your business open on the 4th of July? So the more you interact and answer those questions, are you open or are you not open, Google will understand that the Google My Business listing is more important for you. And as you manage it more, it'll give you more authority there too. I have I was in the Army in the past, and I noticed like, oh, there's a new field on the back end of Google My Business that it's a veteran-owned business. So I put the check mark on. And later on, Google sent me this coin that was, it was a larger coin. And it was they probably spent $25 on this coin in a little plexiglass box with a magnetic case. And it was a nice little folding thing. It was pretty, decent. Here's what it looks like, actually. Yeah. So
legit.
Yeah.
Just by checking the box.
Like, how'd you get that? Like, well, because I noticed that check mark and I happened to put that check mark on, right? So, and then also, yeah, so that was good, right? So if you're a woman-owned business, the same thing. There's a spot for that, and they keep adding new spots all the time. So now do you have an online? Do you offer your services online? Is another check mark that just appeared, within the last month here, right? With photos, notice all these categories that are all across the top, like interior, exterior, at work, team, identity. So the best practice is to start out with like 3 to 5 images in each of these categories all the way through there. And if you have 25 images, don't dump them in there all at once. It's better to trickle them in a little bit at a time and keep kind of, growing that, because every time you add something new, Google is sort of going to like feature that out through there. So if you dumped all of them, Google's just going to pick the best couple, and then it's going to forget about you in a week. So that to be able to add new images in there and to have them branded and things like that. So it's kind of like real images are going to fly a lot better than just stock images are going to be. Right? Next, when it related to the type of pictures. So here's a client of mine that was a CPA company in Naperville. And so notice how many the views are, that like, wow, it's a really big difference in the numbers of these pictures. So what's the difference between them? Yeah, and really it kind of comes down to the pictures with the higher numbers represent what somebody would really see if they came to the business. So the headshot photos of their team, not so much. So it's, Google is sort of, it's like filtered these out, and, like nobody cares about these headshot photos, but it is important to show what the front of the building looks like. And here's the boss at his desk, and I just pulled out my camera and I'm like, hey, let me just take a picture makes it look like you're working here, and I'll add it to your Google My Business when I get home. And that's kind of what we did, right? And it kind of paid off there too. So there's Google My Business has the ability to put posts on. So it's like a Facebook post or a LinkedIn post, the same type of thing. And you can add an image, you could put a message, you could put a link back to somewhere on your website, and you kind of should do all of those things. There's 4 different categories. You can add an event. So if you have any events that your company is doing, you can click add an event. It'll show you it there. An offer or some sort of a promotion, you could add it there. You could even add products in the back end of Google My Business. And there's some of these, like let's talk about the expiration dates a little bit. So a regular update, so like Google My Business post, like something similar to what you would put on Facebook or LinkedIn, and it could kind of be pretty close to the same things. It expires in 7 days. So I guess it's just Google's way of getting you to come back and keep interacting with it on a regular basis, rather than make it a set it and forget it type of thing. They don't really disappear, but they're not featured related to your business anymore. But you could click on one of them, and then you could see all the past ones that go through there. Then there's the events. The events will stay live until the event date, then it'll expire. You could still go to past ones. There's promotion. So whenever you have as the expiration date of that particular promotion, then that will be live. And I would suggest that you kind of always have a promotion of some sort and have that date pretty far out in the future, so you don't have to mess with it anymore, that you'll have this promotional offer. Free consultation, something like that is probably good enough to be able just have it right out there. And then products, you can start adding your products or your services to the back end also. when you write up a post, ideally it should be at least 80 words, and it has a link back to your website, not necessarily the homepage of your website, but it should be kind of like should go to the, so maybe the right way of dealing with it is on your website, you have a blog, you wrote a new blog post, now you go to Google My Business, talk about it, and then point the link back to your blog post. I have a prospect of mine that he spends $500 a month on somebody managing their Facebook account for them. And he didn't understand of like why it's important to do anything with Google My Business. So I had to type out a long email, and I kind of remember, and I'm like, just imagine that the things that you're doing with Facebook, you're showing what you're showing off your company to people that already know who you are. But the things that you're doing inside of Google My Business, you're showing that off to people that don't know who you are, but are searching for the products or services that you offer. So which do you think is more important? In my opinion, I think Google My Business, but there's even systems that you could put a post and have it appear in LinkedIn and Facebook, so there's whole management channels that can do that for you too. Google reviews. So probably everybody's familiar with reviews, but a lot of it comes down to, when you have the 3-pack, who are you going to pick? Most likely the person with the better review score and with more reviews. So it's kind of like the great evener. So it wouldn't matter if the right answer is at the bottom of these 3 or at the top. It would just be, this company doesn't have any reviews. This company has 1 review. So I'm probably going to pick this guy here. Just happens to be my client. And that's kind of, those things are what I can help you with also too. So you can get the review link, send it to happy customers. Hopefully you get more reviews. And it's good for the business owners to answer reviews, whether they're positive or negative. It kind of shows your prospects how you interact with your customers. So, if you didn't care about them, they took the time to leave you a review and you just left them be and didn't answer those, that kind of shows. If you did take the time to answer them and, hey, thank you so much, I really enjoyed working with you, then that goes a long way to show people that don't know how you deal with customers, how you do interact with them. This is just talking about different SEO results from the things that I work with, either students or consulting things. Here's some other, like the back end of, people that did optimize their Google My Business profiles and add new things. So this is kind of showing like the increases in their views and how many times people searched for them or found them in maps, all those type of things like that. Okay. Some of the information that you get when you put some of the good photos out there, Google will send you a message like, hey, this photo got 500 views, or your 46 photos got over 5,000 views in the last month. So that's good feedback that kind of shows you what's working, so you can keep doing more of those things that are working, in fact. So that's kind of how I learned about that CPA company. It was like, I had to scratch my head a minute. It's like, what's the difference between these photos and how many times they're reviewed? And realize like, oh, this would be like a real photo. And the headshot photos are kind of like fake photos to some degree. So this is one of my clients now, and this is a part of kind of like a pitch deck for them, showing them things that this is what your Google My Business listing looks like now. There's only one image that you have in there, and it was added in 2015. No posts, no promotions, all that kind of stuff like that. There's other people have uploaded pictures into the back end of your Google My Business to kind of, it's not their stuff that their company did. So somehow it just got connected there like that. But the important part here is that when people did a search for the business, they really got a lot of missing information. And Google's asking everybody else, like, hey, do you have the answer? Do you know what their business hours are? So that's kind of what people see. And that's where people are looking for those facts. Okay. And then here's the resources, and here's the last slide, but I'm going to come back to this. Let me just kind of go into Google My Business, and I'll show you what it looks like there. Okay. So this is.
And there's a lot of opportunities. Sorry, Bruce. There's a lot of opportunities for people to grow their branding and their awareness of their companies out there. There's a lot to that back end.
Yeah, there is. And it kind of, Google keeps making it more complex all the time. So let's just look at this company, which is a large web design company downtown Chicago. And I can just click on theirs, but the other ones are people that I deal with here, either my clients or whatever. So there's photos. So here's their different photos that I've added on the back end for them. They did a professional photo shoot probably a year ago or something like that, but all these were, not being used anywhere really. So now, I grabbed that as an opportunity, and it's like, wow, you got a lot of great photos. Let's kind of put them in a hopper and keep adding them in there over time. So there's, interior photos at work, team photos, all those kind of things like that. So constantly adding more photos to your Google My Business is helpful. The next would be, let's look at info. So this is what it looks like for what categories do you pick. So, as I'm interviewing this company, it's like, hey, do you guys offer website hosting? Yeah, sure we do. Okay, so let's make sure we add that category to the mix, so that when people are doing a search for hosting companies, these guys have more likely of a chance to come up at the top of those search results. And then there's business hours, business description, when they were open, and then we can look at posts. So this is, you add up, let me just edit the last post that I did. And it all comes down to, here's an image that you add. Here's the content of the post. I think the right answer here is to make sure it's at least 80 words. In the beginning, when I started doing this and didn't know any better, I just would put a, 1 or 2 sentences here, but actually put enough meat there where you could write things that include the right keywords that you want to be found for within the content that you're creating the post for, and then link back to your website within the post. And there's also a spot that there's a learn more button, or there's other options. Maybe it's for webinar registration, maybe you want to have sign up and point right back to where that, on Eventbrite or wherever somebody would sign up for that. Or, if it's a product that you offer online, then you could point right back to where that product lives on your website, right to there like that. There's insight. Okay, let me close this. Here's some of the keywords that are bringing in customers or prospects that are doing searches. So hopefully this is a match to some of the things that you're doing there. Here's all of your reviews and the ability to answer their reviews. We haven't got to that point yet with this client here, but that's kind of the next step, to really just answer the reviews through here. You could also add additional users and managers. There's different levels of security. So you could have the owner of the company could be the owner, and they have a marketing team, and those people could be managers. So a manager can manage the Google My Business and kind of do all the things, but they can't add or remove other users off of the profile. So that'll keep it secure, right? And then, so I think we could just go back to this screen here and do the kind of the question and answers then.
That's great. Bruce, appreciate this. Great information here. I'm just kind of curious if anybody wants to chime in, how many folks are treating this Google Business kind of like their social media and keeping up and posting on a regular schedule. Is anybody taking advantage of that right now?
Might take a minute for someone to unmute, or no one wants to own up to it.
Yeah,
that they don't.
Yeah. We're all in a safe place here. No judgment.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I guess from my perspective.
Circle of trust.
This is Jetty. We've never used Google My Business. I actually sent a message to our Marcom team. I'm like, hey guys, let's look at this. So we haven't used it. We've been using our LinkedIn as well as, contact emails and stuff.
Jenny, did you know that it was so robust?
No, I just learned something new. So I'm glad I took an hour of my day to hang out with you guys.
That's awesome.
Me too.
I'm glad you got some value here. Jenny, are you okay with us? Bruce, is it possible for me to pull up Jenny's site and just see what's going on there? Do you mind, Jenny?
You can, just don't read the review from a disgruntled employee. Just say
No, we'll not do that.
to our leadership team as well.
Negative reviews happen. I think a lot of it is just related to how does the business answer those, and then the next thing, it's not like you're trying to do backflips to remove the negative review. I think you just try a little bit harder to get more positive reviews, and most people, they understand what they're seeing there and they get that. So
sure.
All right,
Bruce, can we go to tidyproducts.com?
Yeah, let me get out of this and let's just. What's the name of the company?
It's TIDI. And it's products, correct, Jenny?
And what town are they
Tell me,
looking at?
Matt. Yeah, we're based in Wisconsin.
Okay, what town?
Nina.
M-E. That's N-E.
N as in Nancy.
Okay, N-E.
E-E. Yep, another E. N-A-H.
Okay, now I get it. All right, so then here's what the Google My Business looks like here. So just a picture of the outside of the building currently. You can click here and see if there's any other pictures that are associated with it.
I feel like Google's the one who does all the outside pictures, because when we Google some of our clients, that's what we get, are just outside pictures.
Yeah, there's the Google 360 picture of just kind of like the Google car or Google Photos that goes through, and those are the ones that you could spin around. Where are they here? I don't see it in this particular instance, but anyways, yeah, I've seen it before where an employee took pictures of his new car, like about a dozen of them. And since he was at that location, I guess he was adding them somewhere. And then Google probably said, do you want me to tag these photos with this place that you work? And now the company's photos are included with all these different things, unrelated photos. I've had it before too, where a day spa moved from one hotel to another hotel, and a customer uploaded a picture that showed a water bottle with the label of the hotel that they used to be located at. So the customer is like, how are we going to deal with this? So I just put a flag on the picture and put a thing that it's creating confusion for our customers. This is the past location. I looked back a week later, Google removed it. So they're kind of on it here, so they're helping you manage it. They're a little bit busy right now with all the coronavirus stuff happening. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention in the PowerPoint there is questions and answers. So it looks like there's 2 people have asked questions to the business, and maybe the business didn't answer. So somebody else that's just another Google person, in this instance a Google guide, just put the words, answered the question that's out there. So that could happen. But you could also have like a FAQ section and front load this whole question and answer section through there too. So you have this position open. All right, so maybe that's true, maybe that's not, but that's great. And then so we got the reviews. So the 1-star review.
No negs.
Yeah. So then maybe you give an answer, to try to answer this in a understanding way kind of here so that other people that are reading these would get it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I did read something that that reviews, when people read reviews, they always kind of see the 1 stars and assume it's just disgruntled people, and you can't fix disgruntled people anyways. And then the 5-star review, they just assume are like your best friends or employees who are trying to get business. So they kind of just take everything in the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's always nice to see, like if I was going to buy a shed and it was like really horrible to put together, I want to know why. But then I just also then assume they're just idiots putting something together. So I'd skip the 1 star and go straight to the. So yeah, 1 star don't worry me.
Yeah. So, you know, let's just do a search, like one of my search terms here, like SEO Naperville. That's the town I'm located in. So there's my listing. I train business owners and marketing directors on how to do some of this SEO stuff. And if we click on my listing, then we'll be able to, you know, there's questions and answers. There's all the different photos related to my business here. What else do we got? The reviews, then I've answered the reviews. And then here's where the Google posts would show up and their promotions. So, you know, schedule a free website audit. And if you click this offer, it goes to that page where somebody can fill out a form and, you know, actually fill in the form there like this, or this is just the post. So somebody can go there and like, oh, let me read the rest of this, similar to what you'd see on all the other social media channels.
Did Tidy, I didn't look and see, what did Tidy's description say?
What is what?
What did Tidy Products, what did their description, company description say?
Yeah, sorry, yep. Let's jump
I didn't even see if it was right.
A manufacturer. So pretty general, but maybe there's a specific item that they manufacture that could be better. But it doesn't look like, you know, there's most likely there's only one category and it's this category and no other additional categories have been added. So then you could go, you know, me as just an end user, I could say, you know, I think that they're not a manufacturer, they're something else, one of the other categories. You know, I think they're a car manufacturer or a carpet manufacturer. And then Google's gonna kind of like, they're gonna put that information inside of Google My Business. If nobody's managing it, it's gonna be a yes or no answer at some point in time. And they'll look at your website for the right information. I've seen it updated many times. So like, what's the website URL or website address, or what's the business hours, all those things that way. You can, sometimes there's even spammy listings and you can suggest an edit and remove the business even and say that, you know, they're a spam listing. Because, you know, if I am looking for, I'm going to discard that.
Please.
Yeah. But as the business owner, if you have a Google account that's associated with it, you'll get that message. You know, somebody suggested that this is true. What do you agree or not, or disagree with that? So is there, you know, the way the rules lead is that whatever the official company name is, that's how you should be represented on Google My Business. So do we think that this is a real company name, you know, Cheap Car Insurance Bolingbrook, and there's another one just like that, Cheap Car Insurance Naperville, those type of things like that. So, you know, these we could then click on and suggest an edit and remove the place and say that it's a spam listing. So, you know, if we did all that and we were an insurance company, maybe we were number 4 in the map pack, you know, so that means we weren't in the 3-pack, we're 1 below. But this is a spam listing and we're able to get it removed. Well, then your listing shows up in that 3-pack now. And there's a whole process with that. Yeah, it kind of all depends upon, it all depends upon the business type. You know, there's some certain very spammy categories that are out there.
Yeah.
I'm sure none of you guys
also take a look at another volunteer in our group, QT9 Software.
59?
QT. No, Q is in quail. T is in Tom. Then the number 9. Space. Software.
All right. So it says it's a software company in Aurora, Illinois. Here's the images.
Logo looks good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great sign.
Couple of reviews. Some looks like somebody at some point filled in a business description there related to it. So let's just say Aurora Software Company.
Ooh, good job,
Right.
Sam.
Yeah. So
Second in there.
it's showing up here for sure. But you know, could it be better? Could, you know, once you get into it, you view a lot more. So there's a lot more to do related to that. And, you know, these guys have 10 reviews, but more importantly, when somebody's doing that search, maybe they're just doing specific software. So it's like, this is not even a valid search query, depending upon what you're really trying to be focused on, types of software, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But then it
Hey,
says,
Bruce.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Matt Serene had a question, and it kind of relates to what we're doing here. So with regards to Google Ads and the #1 ranking, is there any feedback or analytics to tell you, you know, what is most likely to get clicked? Do people skip over the ad rankings? I know, generally speaking, in my search preferences, I usually look past the ads and look for the #1 ranking.
Yeah. With
Versus
Google Ads, it's somewhere like 2 to 10% of people click on the ads. All the rest of us are smart enough to stay away from them. So that, and then when people are frustrated enough that they actually do click on an ad, they're probably a little bit more likely to buy related to that. And it's, you know, hopefully it's a better match. So they're not in explore mode so much, they're more in buy mode at that point, but typically they won't. So I've written some blog posts, you know, what's the difference between pay-per-click or organic search? So
how's that mapping out now with Google My Business? I would assume that it's the lion's share is going to Google My Business, and you know, getting a preview before you commit to going to their website. Is that kind of the process there?
yeah, let me show. Let's do one. Software near me. Oh, I guess I don't see it trigger an ad, but let's just say web design near me. All right, so we know that that's a popular category, and here's all the people that are spending money to be in the ads up above the top of the map pack. Sometimes you see that there's even paid map listings. So there maybe are going to display 4 listings right here rather than 3. And one of them, it says it's an ad at that point in time.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it kind of depends upon, so yeah, it all depends upon what the query is. Is it local or national? But you have to realize, you know, for the people that are on the call that say, well, we don't have any local customers, our clients are national. Just remember that whenever you click on the business, and if it just shows the outside of the business, you have a lot of opportunities to kind of show off probably more than what you're doing right now. Makes sense.
Good stuff. It does.
Any other questions that we have there?
You guys are unmuted, so if you want to just shout it out, you can feel free.
So when I see in the chat window here, Sam asked a question. Could you let me know if you could have 3, apparently they have like 3 different websites for their company, and maybe they want to have 3 different Google My Business listings, but it's not allowed. What you need to have is a physical location. So you could be like a plumber or electrician and work out of your house, and you just kind of have like a service area. The postcard needs to go to that address to verify that you're really at that physical address and you're not just a lead gen source. So to be able to get over, to be able to make that work, you'd have to have physical addresses that you could make the postcards go to each of those. All right.
So perhaps if you had some
That makes sense.
remote staff, somebody could receive that in a location that you might not have an office in.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible like that. I have some clients that were in virtual offices, and the challenge with that is that Google is not going to let more than one category. So let's just imagine there's virtual offices and it's lawyers and it's an attorney in the same niche. I don't know, family law is is their main category. Google is not going to let both of them show up here ever. So they're only going to let the most optimized person show up, and virtual offices are not allowed according to Google My Business. So then the listing is also, it's easily for somebody like myself that's looking for spam listings to knock them out of there. Sometimes I've done it before where you just do find a virtual office space, find a Regis office and do a Google search for that address and whatever niche that you want. And then I have a whole list of people that I could knock out if I wanted to. And Google would agree with it and leave it out of there. There's whole processes like that there too.
Interesting.
Very cool. I can't believe this is literally like another social platform where digital marketers need to actually pay attention to and put it on their weekly update in order to be more searchable and increase their revenue. I love this.
Yeah,
big eye opener, Bruce.
Yep, thank you very much. I think in the end, it'll like having a management program that can handle all of these at one time. And then there's some of those that are out there. I don't remember the name of them now, but just doing it all at the same time, because you really could just reuse the same content. It's not like it's a whole new world here of just putting your stuff there. Yep.
I agree. Yeah. This is great. Well, if anybody has any questions and you think about it afterwards, just reach out to myself or Matt, and we'll have content to you or the answer for you. Bruce has his information on here if you're interested in having him further this discussion with you, because obviously Matt and I are not the people that can help you with this. But yeah, Matt and I are really, and all of our Trade Tech team, we're really interested in helping you guys grow your business, which is why we do those all online, and everyone that do these kind of help our clients.
Thanks so much, everyone. Appreciate you attending. And Bruce, thank you very much. It's very informative.
Yep. Thank you very much. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Take care, guys.